Oh, hey, hi. Wow, I was drifting away today, but then I had some food and that was good. Let me see my hair. Yes, I have hair. See? Yay. I'm so happy to have hair after the C word. Anyway, ah. Hey, Heather Dawn, how are you doing, sweetheart? Yes. Oh, thank you. I've got, I've also got, and I haven't got it in here yet, but I've got a buy me a coffee now too. So, anyway, I do have it up on my channel description and in the description here. Hi, I'm the Ocean's Deep Ooh, and Ooh is what we do here. And I was having a discussion with a friend. We were talking about how weird it is that somehow, and I guess this is turning a plus into a minus, but somehow getting smacked in the head can open up abilities that we didn't formerly have. Let me see if I can do that. A star comment. That's all I can do is star it. It's not letting me do anything else that I can see anyway. Doggone it. I think that has to happen in YouTube. Or unless Star does that. So, still learning this. Meanwhile, coughing. Yeah, it's, I'm still kind of coughing. We've still got a lot of dust around here. And I think that's part of what's going on here. But, I get so choked up. But, yeah, we were discussing how odd it is that, getting hurt can actually give you a superpower. You gotta admit, that's kind of surprising. However, it shouldn't be because they found this out. Unfortunately, this is one of the reasons why they use trauma-based stuff in some of these programs. You know what I'm talking about. Is because, yeah, it can unlock abilities the fast way instead of the slower, easier, and more gentle way of using meditation. They just traumatize the hell out of people. That's also to fragment you because humans have the ability to fragment. And hello, James. We'll talk more about that after the intro. I'm going to give people a chance to show up. Let me get there. Hey, how you doing, James? How you doing? No. Um, so basically, this is one of the odd things. This is why we talk about fractals. This is why we talk about how it is that we came to be separated from one thing or feel we're separate is the ability we have to fragment. And I know that sounds, uh, when you get fragmented, you can end up in a mental ward, when you get shattered. But certain programs also found that it was useful because different fragments have different abilities. Apparently, if you think about it, this is how we became separate beings anyway, is our ability to do this way back from the beginning. And then totally forget that we did that. Kind of interesting. So I was talking with Heather Dawn, in fact, about how somehow we got onto the subject about how stuff showed up after some kind of trauma. Like, uh, I noticed that a lot of stuff showed up after my near death experience, but also after I had an accident where I bumped my head. It's the typical, he bumped his head and doesn't remember anything. Instead, no, he bumped his head, or she bumped her head, and all of a sudden can do more than she used to be able to do. It's kind of interesting that an injury, literally an injury, can do that, don't you think? Hello, I am Pam. Monday streams are great. None of the regulars post anything. What? Hi, Jackie. Hi, Pam. I am. Not sure what you mean, James. Oh, yeah. You got to be careful, James. You don't want to. You don't want to push too hard. You don't want that baby to go flying out like a missile. Oh, wait, that's different. Yeah. Mm. Well, see, that's just an interesting thing. We were talking about how something very traumatic puts you into sort of a trance sometimes. It happened to me too. It's happened to me more than once, where you go into kind of a trance. You're in shock, kind of, you know? The far as I can figure, because I was walking around, I would just walk across the street. When I was in that state, I was in a state at one point where I don't mean state of the union, I mean a state of mind. Um, when I had so many problems going on, so many traumatizing things happening to me, I was walking around basically with, I'd step out into the street and just not even look and not even care. It was like I wasn't here, I was somewhere else. And that's kind of what we're discussing tonight. Isn't that interesting? Uh, we have that ability. It's part of the pluses and minuses of being human on this plane. Is we have the ability to put up these partitions in our mind. We have the ability to shatter into more than one And to many, in fact, I guess there is a upper limit to it, 2,500 or something pieces. Um, one of the experiencers was saying we're talking about programs, government programs, not apparently, and we're talking dark programs. I guess 2,500 different personalities can emerge, and each of them with a little bit different skills. It's and a little bit different personality. One day I'm going to have to see if I can look her up and have her on the show. Very controversial stuff, though. So I got to be careful how I talk about this. But oh, you go into alpha state right away. Interesting. Yeah. Well, these are different. Once again, we're talking about frequencies. When we're talking about any kind of waves, we're also talking about frequencies. And basically, that once again, here we go. Sounds like a simulation, doesn't it? Just gives more credibility to the simulation theory. Everything's a frequency. Your state of mind is a frequency. Your whole state of being is a frequency. Everything you see is a frequency of light. Everything's a frequency. Everything you hear or don't hear is a frequency. Everything you see and don't see. There are things that we don't see. They're just a frequency that our apparatus is not designed to see. But the third eye can see it. So, let's see what we're saying in the James Ortiz is in an alpha state when he gets hooked up to a machine. Deep breathing, yes. Breath work, that's another way to do it. Much more gentle way. Yes, actually, no, that's pretty much what we're talking about tonight. There is a reason that the shaman's death happens. The shaman's death is now there's a theory. In the old days, we had to do things quite a bit differently, but we had a lot more time. Things weren't like they are now. These days, we have our initiations and so on in everyday life experiences within that. And it is a long time tradition. The shaman goes through some kind of a shaman's death. This is an ego death. And the ego death can be accompanied by a physical death and revived. As a matter of fact, there is an old joke about lightning. If you get hit by lightning, you're an instant shaman. If you live, you're a shaman. Congratulations. If you die, you're a dead shaman. Congratulations. It doesn't matter. Still a shaman. Get hit by lightning. It's it's sort of well, this is the way that Native Americans think too, you know. Hey, oh yeah, post the preview to the movie Life with Ghost. Absolutely. We want to post that. because Heather Dawn is very much involved with that. Ah, detected the waves. Yes, I got that. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, folks. Well, the point is we've got abilities, and one of our very strange abilities is trauma can induce superpowers. Altered state of mind can induce superpowers. Um, you've heard it, the old thing about women suddenly getting the strength to lift a car off their child, or doing some other superhero type thing that they wouldn't be able to do otherwise. Happens all the time. And we kind of write it off. But what happens when it lingers? At one point, I was on a psychic fair circuit, and I noticed that several of my friends had had a very similar experience to myself. After sustaining a head injury, they found they had different abilities than they had before. And I remember one of my friends saying, "Oh gosh, I've got Frankenstein head now, but I can certainly do some things that I couldn't do before." Because her head was mine was too, where I hit it like right here on the left side. Um, Jill Bolte Taylor very famously had a near-death experience where she had a stroke and it took out her left brain, and she had only her right brain. And she found bliss. She found heaven. Heaven is in your right brain. Your left brain's the one that deals with here. Okay, your left brain is the logical side. Your right brain is the dreamer, the one that knows where nirvana is. Okay, and is always in a state of bliss. So yes. So this is why I teach the breathing exercises. This is why from time to time we do the breathing exercises and stuff, so we can get to these altered states of mind in a much gentler way. And I really can recommend that you go and find yourself some videos on YouTube that are uh, actually designed to help you reach that state rather than bang yourself in the head. But of course, the shamans would do things like bury themselves and go on a 3-day vision quest where they didn't eat and didn't drink, and sometimes would have all kinds of things happen to them. I know one who had gotten bitten by a rattlesnake and hallucinated his butt off and didn't die. So things like that can happen. You meet your power animal. Uh, Things like that. Okay, so basically, this can be a plus and a minus. A lot of us have found we get into these like, you have an NDE, you're never the same. You bash your head, you're never the same. Sometimes it can work in reverse too. I don't know how many stories I have heard where the person said, "Yeah, it was all different before the accident." They were so different before the accident. Sometimes it seems like it opens up a pathway, a new pathway. Maybe it knocks out a guardian, is what's really going on. Um, yes, it's really not fun when it happens, generally. So we end up having these things wakefully. We end up having these things in everyday life. There are some people that go seeking a shamanic experience, that go through the shaman training and get themselves buried and other stuff. And that's still, in a way, trauma, being buried for 3 days in darkness. Still trauma based. Uh, Vision quests, you're denying your body food and drink. You're taking a chance on getting eaten or attacked by something. You're out alone in the desert or the woods or whatever. And, these things quite often, something happens and you come back a different person. That seems to be part of the story. If you want it gentler, you meditate. You do the breath work. You do the fasting on purpose in the comfort of your home or whatever. But really, in the old days, there was something intentionally traumatic to the body and or the mind. Complex, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I had some of that going on too. Finding out that somebody had tried to poison me was another one. Yeah, that was a shock. Somebody wanted to poison me. Well, that was before I didn't understand why. What have I done that would deserve that? I didn't understand that some people do that in a ritual. They befriend somebody and then take them out as a offering. But and I hear of that a lot. I run into this a lot. There are people who operate like that. Nice people, huh? No. Please don't do that. Um, we don't need to go through the trauma, although it is a fast way. It's a very fast way in a lot of cases. Um, I sometimes wonder when I hear of some of these programs, I I think probably I was probably put, if they exist, and I think they might. I probably was a candidate for that because they would take children who would show signs of having abilities, which I always did, for these programs, and your that life would be kind of a hidden life, would be a double life. And there's all kinds of people that talk about that. You could find them talking about this stuff, and how this works. And like I said, one day maybe I'll find somebody willing to come on the show and explain it to you if you haven't heard about it already. Yeah. When the left brain, and this was interesting because the left brain on me was what got it seems to happen mostly when your left brain gets knocked out for a while or damaged. It would almost seem like the left brain is the gatekeeper. as some kind of a gatekeeper ability that keeps you from um, getting very far without easing that up a little bit. And I do believe that's got to then be where the ego is located, because they talk about you've got to get your ego out of the way. It seems like that kind of stuff resides in the left brain. So I could be wrong about this. I'm not an expert in this, but we thought it was an interesting discussion to see if anybody else had any experiences like this um, that you want to talk about. Because honestly, if this show has something to do with getting back with unlocking and awakening your godlike superpowers, then this is a subject we kind of have to broach. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and I did notice, I noticed things differently after these accidents. And it seemed like each accident unlocked something a little different. So actually it was the damage to the brain that unlocked the ability. And in the very intro of my show, I say sometimes our five senses actually mask more, hide more than they reveal. The fact that we're locked into, the five sensory system, that's that's probably a left brain thing, you know. But the right brain is where all of the crazy wild magic stuff lives. So the trick is getting to your right brain without hurting yourself. Yeah, that's why the meditation, the breath work, the fasting, so on and so forth. Now today I fasted, and I'm pretty sure I have a thyroid issue that they're not finding, that they have never found, because I have always had symptoms of thyroid issues, but they never do find anything. Um, but I guess unless you have very specific tests, you can miss a lot of things like that. But like today, I fasted and I was freezing. I was freezing after, when they talk about after this hour 17 is when you start with the autophagy, which is the body going around and scavenging up all of the dead cells and all of the weak stuff, all of the stuff that isn't working, and basically taking out all of the junk, taking out the garbage, so that fresh growth can happen, fresh cells and stuff can be made. Well, yeah, I did over 17 hours. I did more like 19. And so that means like something like 1920, some 19 or 20. I'm not exactly sure. And I got very cold. And that seems to be what happens these days when I um, fast, when I do the fasting. I start freezing. So we were talking about, you know, but is the freezing like a good thing or a bad thing? Like, am I freezing because something is wrong with the system, or am I freezing because like something is wrong with my thyroid, or am I freezing because all of a sudden I'm sensing spirits around? We even brought that up, what could be. Yeah, the body keeps the score, and I've heard of that too. I've heard of that. That's an interesting book too. Right, right. And well, thank you. No, yeah, I have special Evu um that I really like. It's Mina brand Evu, that extra virgin olive oil. For those of you who don't do the abbreviations, well, extra virgin olive oil. Mina is from Morocco, where they have the most high polyphenols. So we have, a very high uh, polyphenol concentration instead of most of the oils that you get, olive oils that you get here from Italy or wherever, Mediterranean. And actually, I remember one of my friends was telling me about, I believe it was Yolana, was telling me about how she read the mafia took over the whole Italian olive oil trade, and you're not even getting pure olive oil half the time. So then they're making a very big profit off of it. So it's almost like the drug trade. So, everything that has a big profit to it, because people pay unbelievable amounts for Evu. So, on a funny note, I heard a story about Starbucks. Starbucks started offering, because, the thing is, putting it in your coffee is a big thing now. They started offering a Evu latte with extra virgin olive oil in it. And of course, a lot of people were very hot to try it. They were quick to order it up and take it, and not realizing there is a side effect to this. See, I knew about this because when I tried it, and it's funny, Yolana tried it, same thing happened. Guess what? You need the toilet. You need to be near the toilet. It'll send you right to the toilet. And it's a funny thing how cleaning out that part of you, your gut, actually helps your third eye. I guess the whole idea is get your head out of your butt, right? But no, a healthy gut is actually a big part of having a healthy third eye. So, so it was funny. All of these people, after being sent to the bathroom, after drinking an evil latte, they started calling it the evil latte, and they had to stop serving it. They stopped serving it after about a week of people complaining. I think this is hilarious because the 12 mushrooms will do that. The Haritaki mushrooms will also do that to you. And it's not a bad thing. These things are helping you clean out your gut, and you need a clean gut. It's part of having a healthy third eye, is having a healthy gut. It just, because you have another brain in your guts. Your gut turns out to be another one of your brains. So, you have a brain in the head, a brain in the heart, and a brain in the gut. So if you have your gut cleaned out, you're thinking you're better all the way around. So, the Zero app. Oh, that's interesting for fasting. Raw milk fast. Yeah, if you can get raw milk, it's actually illegal in a lot of places. Yes, and you need to break in slowly because it's another one of those things that will send you to the bathroom when you first start. And almost everything I've done to help myself has done that to me, though. It has been, um, hmm, It has been, what can I say? Very instructive, and actually goes right along. I mean, a long time ago, I said, okay, you know what? They found a brain in the heart now. My prediction, they're going to find one in the gut. And certainly they did. That's another one of my predictions that came true. I said they're going to find out there's one in the gut. Because what do we always say? Go with your gut instinct, right? That means your gut thinks. Now, if they're giving you all of this crap, all of this toxin and poison, and it's all infested with Candida and all kinds of maybe parasites and all of this other stuff, how well are you going to function? You know, are you going to function very well? I mean, is this why they're doing it? Is to keep that part of us down so that we can't really see the truth very well, so that we can't function very well, we can't see what's going on? I mean, because, what if that's um, part of the plan is, well, geez, if they could see, they'd see that we were, uh, they'd see all the stuff we were pulling on them, right? So if I was going to be paranoid, and I am actually, I guess, maybe a bit paranoid. Yeah, intermittent fasting. Now we have the idea of intermittent fasting because um, it's easier. Oh, you gotta love doing things on a phone. The buttons are so small, and you gotta push something, and you push something else. So, actually, no. I wanted to tell you, I looked into ACV. It's kind of the other way around. There, it is harmful in certain circumstances. Like if you take too much of it, if you take it too long, that kind of thing. But the way that most people take it, it's not harmful. Now, that's what my research has shown. But I did look into that because you said that. And yes, there are times that it can be dangerous if it is, well, like anything, if it's misused. If I was to take that whole bottle of Haritaki mushroom powder, or to take way too much of it, I'm sure I would be sick as a dog and maybe hurt myself. Or the 12 mushroom, I'd probably hurt myself. But I did look into that, and with all due respect, because you said that, I looked into it, and I am finding that there is no proof that it's harmful in moderation. So, actually, there are people who have used it for years, so with no ill effect. But there are also people who have killed themselves ingesting water, too much water. I mean, you gotta realize if there's anything that does anything that does anything to you, people are going to overdo it and hurt themselves, or they're going to misuse it and hurt themselves because people do stuff like that. They do it all the time. It's like you can kill yourself on a lot of substances that we have lying around every day. So I'm not sure I know this is kind of a bone of contention, but I'm sorry, I cannot concur that it's not a healthy thing. But everybody to their own opinion. I did, though, look it up because I listened to you. Mhm. I listen to my viewers because they know a lot. You guys know a lot. You really do. You've looked into a lot of things. I realize that. So, yeah, there are some blood types. There are some people that have to avoid certain things. It seems to be, once again, a very individual thing. And what am I always saying? We are individuals and we have different body types. We have different digestive systems. We have different blood types. Some people have to be careful about all kinds of things. I mean, I'm I have allergies to things and sensitivities to things. And it seems like since I died, I've just been packing on the sensitivities for a while. Now I'm beginning to get over some of that, being able to get through it. But you really have to do what's right for yourself, and you have to figure that out. And then you have to stick to it and not let people um, stop you. Well, yeah, you don't want acidosis. It's true. Um, yeah, you can inadvertently hurt yourself. You can inadvertently hurt yourself being a vegetarian or a vegan. There are people who have made themselves really sick. They have whole channels based on "Don't go raw vegan." One of them calls her thing bacon grease. She went back to 100% animal protein. After that, she damaged herself severely and healed herself with 100% animal protein. So it depends on the person. I am not going to pass judgment on any of this. This is not my place to pass judgment on any of this. All I say is, if it works for you, then keep doing that. If it don't work for you, though, if you're having problems, you might want to try something else. I have very alkaline water that I use it in. When I use it, I have alkaline water. I'm pretty sure they're balancing each other out. That's probably why it's not a problem for me. But then again, I know not everybody has that. I have tested the water from my water pitcher, and it's a special water pitcher. I got it from Amazon. It's an alkaline pitcher and uses a special filter. And I'll tell you, I test the water, and the water tests perfect, and it's alkaline. And then I have a um, hydrogen water producer that also alkalizes the water. And that's what I usually use to put my vinegar in when I put in vinegar, which may be why I'm okay. But um, once again, this is where knowledge is important. You get yourself on the wrong diet, one of these fad diets, faddishly doing things, and you don't know what you're doing, you can hurt yourself. Yes, you absolutely can. And you know what? I will tell you, raw vegans hate to admit this. You can really hurt yourself on a raw vegan diet. You really can. You can get very sick on that. You can get really sick on a vegetarian. They hate to admit it if you don't know what you're doing. Okay? If you do it wrong. You have to listen to your guidance. You have to read up on it. You have to pay attention to what you're doing. You can't just skip the meat and go to the veggies. That doesn't necessarily work. It will for a while. I mean, your system will take that for a while. But I have seen people get pretty sick from a vegetarian diet. And if you skip the B12, you're going to get sick sooner or later. I mean, if you don't get any B12, your body can't work without B12. It just can't. But you can get that from plant-based. And Lady Spellbreaker can tell you about that. Heather Dawn can tell you all about that, about her experiences with that, because she is switching to plant-based because that's her path. So you have to take the right supplements and pay attention. It's not just a cakewalk. Oh, God. Oh, James. Oh, Lord. Oh, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, geez. Yes, acidosis can actually eat your bones and teeth and stuff. You don't want that. And, but cancer is really mostly fed by sugar. So if you never want cancer, don't touch sugar. It's pretty simple. That's what cancer eats. And I didn't say that. Experts say that. I mean, people who are well studied in the field say that. If you want to get something out of your diet that and you're worried about cancer, all sugar. Take all the sugar out, all of it, all of it. Everything sweet, basically. That means even the fruit. So, and it can't survive because it eats sugar. There you go. So if you're fighting cancer, you got to take all the sweet out of your life. That's sad, very sad. But if it'll cure you without all of the stuff that might kill you, it's probably worth it, I would think. I know I did that for a while when I had breast lumps. It was part of my thing. I got away from sugar and some other stuff. I made a lot of lifestyle changes. But anyway, back to this trauma idea. So there is another piece to this is I have also been reading up on this multiple strands of DNA because, as you know, it's most common. They tell us we only have two. The truth is, they started finding long ago, right around the millennium, they started finding multiple strands of DNA in people. And it can actually switch while you are still alive. I mean, you don't have to be born that way. And what do you think can trigger it? Trauma. People who have had very severe or prolonged illnesses can suddenly sprout multiple strands of DNA instead of just two. And I'm like, oh, could that be another part of this puzzle? Well, a lot of dairy has sugar in it. But yeah, raw milk, I would love to have that. I would love to have that. Hmm. Well, sugar feeds cancer, and I'm sorry, but once again, this is not me saying it. It's people who have studied it, doctors who have studied it, who's really gone into this, alternative doctors, and they say sugar. It's sugar. It's not even dairy. It's sugar. Sugar, sugar, and sugar. But there is sugar in dairy. There's sugar in a lot of things. There's sugar in fruit too. There's sugar in a lot of things. And a lot of things have hidden sugar. So, and turn into sugar. So you can't even have anything that turns into sugar. That includes alcohol. That includes carbs. That's probably why people have such luck on the keto diet. Get better on the keto diet. If you're taking all of the avenues of sugar out of your life, you are literally starving the cancer. And some of you already know about keto. So I don't think I have to go too much in what keto is. But it's basically, you get rid of it. Was really designed for something else. But they found out that people were losing weight on it and getting rid of other illnesses. And, there you go. Well, why not take advantage of that, right? I mean, if that's where our bodies are built, might as well take advantage of it. So I don't want y'all fighting over dairy food or any, please don't get into a food fight. There is some truth in all of this you're saying. And there's also a lot of BS in everything we've been told. And so anytime they try to sell me on something, I'm very suspicious and I check it out. And I check it out really good. And I check it out with people on both sides of the aisle on it. Because every turn, we're hoodwinked every single way that they can probably, I mean, any way that they can possibly do it, they try to hoodwink us, okay? People will try to do that. Advertisers, people trying to make a profit, people trying to gain control or keep control. I think that's probably one of the worst ones but the programs that traumatize people. Now, here's what one of the experiencers was talking about. I'm going to get in touch with her and see if she'll come on the show. She was talking about, see, this goes along with shamanic thinking too. You can lose shards of yourself. You can actually, pieces of you can get lost in what is called the shamanic dream time. Because everybody exists in this shamanic dream time. I mean, whether you know you do or not, you do. And the three worlds of dream time, shamanic dream time, are the middle world, which is kind of like this world, the above world, which is sort of ethereal, and the below world, which is very earthy and sometimes very dark. Those three worlds. Now, in the middle world, usually when you're getting lost in the middle world, it's a time thing. You lost the piece somewhere in time. The time that blah, blah, blah happened, that's when you split off. And a piece of your energy split off. Now, this interesting ability we have to shatter like that, to fragment, and then come back together, I think is one of our most fascinating superpowers that we are not being told about. We're not being told that we can even do this. Normal doctors won't even admit that this is possible. They will psychologically, they'll say, oh, but that's a psychological thing. No, the shaman sees it as being very real, very real. And it can have physical consequences. Multiple personalities. There are people who, one personality will have cancer, another one won't. One personality will have, even the eye color can change. The eye color. These things have been noted. Okay? So this whole idea of, I mean, think about this. Nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about this. And this is what shamans used to do. This is one of their main jobs. They would find your lost soul piece that made you sick, the reason that you're having problems, they would go find that piece and bring it back to you. That was part of the shamanic practice. So the shamans knew about this all along. Okay? My first soul retrieval was remote. It was a remote soul retrieval. This is how I learned I could practice these things remote. I didn't have to be on site. I'm non-local. The soul is non-local. And you know what? I believe, Lady Spellbreaker, that was exactly what you had to do for what your for what your physiology is and what your guidance was. I believe you had to do that. I am with anybody following their guidance. If you're guided to try something, I'm for that. Just know what you're getting into, do some research, be smart about it. Don't tra la la like the Fool card, because I mean the Fool card is a great card, but a lot of things can cause you a lot of problems down the road if you don't do it right. And I found that out. I mean, when I lost all that weight, that was just great. But then it gives you a different set point, and you eat anything, and suddenly you're gaining weight. Zoom. It's like zoom, and you're going to gain. You're always, if you change your set point, when you gain weight back, you will always gain at least 20 pounds more than you lost, because your body wants you to survive. It is a survival mechanism built into our body. Now, all that trauma I was going through during the time that I was homeless and having nothing to eat, doing a lot of fasting, yeah, I was psychic as all get out. I was. And I guess a lot of that followed me to this day. But yeah, I had all kinds of phenomena happening to me. Once again, there you go with the trauma. Uh, but you know, if if that's what you're experiencing, I'm the last person to say you didn't experience it and try to gaslight anybody. If raw milk helps you, drink it. By golly, is what I say. I'd like to try it. I know it might send me to the bathroom for a while, but I certainly would like to try it. But it's illegal. You can't hardly get it. It's like pot, or it's worse than pot trying to get pot. It's easier to get marijuana in a marijuana-free state, but than to get raw milk. Weird, huh? Yeah, it's actually easier to get illegal drugs than raw milk. Go figure that out. There's got to be something to it, because otherwise it wouldn't be trying so hard to keep it away from us. That's what I figure. But then again, I have a tendency to be very suspicious. So you can't go by me, but it just seems to me that everything they tell us is the best thing ever since sliced bread is usually bad for us. Like using artificial sweeteners instead of sugar. Sugar is so bad for you. Here, use this artificial crap that'll make you circle the drain even faster. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when was the last time they touted anything that was really good for us? And it really turned out to be good for us? When was the last time that happened? Can you remember? I don't remember. I don't remember. Exactly, Mark. That's how you know it's good for you. It's illegal. Get milk. People have been drinking milk for hundreds of years. Cow milk, goat milk, yak milk. Come on. Come on. You want me to believe? Look, if it was that bad, we would have been dead a long time ago. It's all our ancestors had. They needed to get protein somehow. I mean, protein is a big thing. It's what builds your body, protein. And everybody didn't understand. I'm sure they weren't all sitting around uh, doing food combining. Now, food combining is great because, you get beans and rice, you get a protein, right? I know that. Food combining is a great thing. I mean, vegetable food combining. Yeah, you can get protein. A lot of people, though, it's like if you don't get enough protein, what happens? And I really wonder, is that how we got so small compared to everybody else? Because we're actually tiny. Humans, compared to other species, other than the grays, which are really tiny, and I really have my suspicions about what happened with them. But where we're not gonna go there tonight, I don't think. But maybe that's one of the reasons we did have some points in history of this planet where we probably did not have enough access to adequate protein. And that's when a lot of crap happened, you know. And maybe that's how we ended up being much smaller than we started out. Because I know that Naysay was saying his people, and that would have been my people too, the Cherokee, were very tall. They were 6, 7 feet tall originally. The Anishinaabe were 6, 7 feet tall originally. But what happened? Disease, famine, stuff like that, hardships, right? And they got smaller. So I'm kind of thinking that's maybe what did it to our species. There are still some there's still some species of mankind. I can't say there's still some pockets of mankind that are 7, 8 feet tall. That would be like the Zulu. Yeah, right. Look, and honestly, I didn't bring this up to start people warring with each other about what to eat and what not to eat, because this debate has raged on for many years. Uh, you know, but the truth is, I think probably it's different for different people. Some things are generally true, some things are specifically true. Some things are generally true for everybody, and then other things are specific to the type of physiology you have. And I think, unfortunately, because the doctors have their heads up their butts about this, that we've got to find this out for ourselves. We totally have to figure this out for ourselves because nobody is going to do this for us, right? I mean, the doctor is certainly not going to, most your average doctor is not going to know anything about it. They're not even going to touch this subject. They don't get, in fact, I've heard it repeatedly. You get almost no nutrition training as a doctor, almost none. They mention it a little bit in the first year and you never hear about it again. They're not into that. They're into the diagnose, and then they're into the stab, burn, cut, poison, but they're not into the nutrition realm. Although they try. It's like some of them will hand you a diet and say, here, do this and eat less and exercise more and everything will be fine. Which a lot of times that's bullshit. But anyway, Yeah, booby traps. I'm telling you, so many booby traps. That's why it's like I don't argue with people about this. Um, I didn't argue with my helper. Yolanda's my helper. I didn't argue with her about it. I just stated what I had heard. And she decided to go off B12 because it wasn't vegan. And because the yeast was expensive. And I told her, I said, you cannot live without B12. You can't do it. Your physiology is not designed to live without B12. You got to have it in some form. She decided she was going to prove me wrong. She went off B12 while trying to be a vegan, and she hurt herself. She almost fainted in front of me. She fell right down in front. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want her to get fired or something. Something bad happened to her. But she just barely caught herself. And I said, "Are you taking enough B12?" And she said, "No, I went off of it for a while." I said, "Hon, you cannot do that. Got to have it in some form." Now, out in the wild, I don't know how we got it. Okay. My best guess is we got it any way we could. I mean, B12, you get it either from animals or you get it from yeast. We must have eaten a lot of yeast in the old days, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. Yeah, and if they don't know your blood type, nobody will tell me my blood type. And I question everything they say. Me too. I question everything they say, everything they tell me. Why? Because I find that that's the right thing to do. You need to question everything they tell you. If you just blindly trust, you can get yourself into a lot of situations that you don't want to be in. Hello, that way. How are you doing? Right. Everything commercial is corrupted. It's like I bless everything I eat. I bless everything in the house. In fact, I mean, in the apartment, I actually do mass blessings for all the food in the apartment when I go shopping. As a matter of fact, I still have to do that. I haven't done that yet. But the blessing is like, bless all this food to be healthy and wholesome, nutritious, delicious, and of course, my hands. Oh, there's a nice field going on there. Bless all this food to be healthy and wholesome, nutritious, delicious, perfect for my use in every way, and bless every being that had a part in bringing me this wonderful food. Yes, blessing everything is a good thing. Great. I have some cornflakes in there I won't touch. You know what? That's another thing. People have found their magnets stick to their food. Wait, what? Wait, something ferrous in the food? Yeah, and we know what the ferrous stuff is, don't we? Nano. So, mm, raw jelly is the ideal vitamin B complex. True. That's what they feed to the queen. Hey, Alexander the Ganja Shaman, how are you doing? Cheers and blessings to you too, Alexander. Here's our numerologist. The numbers man. Yeah. Okay. We rocking now. Yeah. It's funny how much the human body can actually endure as far as traumas. I'm not talking just disease and stuff and accidents. I'm talking this stuff that the medical establishment does to it. Think about this. Think about what they do to people with cancer. Here's people with cancer. What are they doing? They're they're giving them chemicals, toxic chemicals. They're burning them with radiation, and they're cutting them, causing trauma with sharp instruments. Yeah. When I first learned about cancer when I was young, and they told us, people were saying, well, what causes cancer? Because we'd barely heard of it. When I was a kid, nobody had cancer. It was like, oh yeah, Aunt so and so who lived around the coal mines. People who lived in places, very polluted places. Sometimes they would have cancer, but we didn't know much about cancer, what caused it, or anything. We didn't hardly know anybody who ever had it. It was rare, very, very rare disease. So when I heard about cancer, of course, the question was scientists looking into what causes it. Okay. So then the answer comes back, well, what seems to be causing it is things like um, injury, uh, burns, um, toxins, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, so stay away from, I guess repeated injury. Uh, Stay away from this, stay away from that, stay away from toxins, stay away from radiation, that kind of thing. So then what? The next thing you know is on down the line when they're telling us, and we're waiting to hear, okay, so now how do we get rid of it? Well, let's see. We're going to use toxins, radiation, and injury. And I'm like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. If that's what causes it, why would you use that to get rid of it? How is that supposed to work? How is that voodoo supposed to work? And I was shocked. I remember how shocked I was. Because by that time I was a teenager and I'm like, that can't be. Did they get that wrong? Did somebody read that wrong? Wait. I looked into it. Sure enough, the way they've decided to treat cancer is with the very stuff that causes cancer. And I'm like, okay. Right then, I realized they're insane. They've got to be insane. They've got to be insane. And then I realized I can never trust these people. These people must always be questioned. Always. Because if they can come up with something like that, you can't trust them. How can you? They're going to tell you black is white, red is green, and orange is blue. Yeah, hormones and undigestible compounds, because every time you eat something that your body can't figure out, like GMO food, Every time you eat some or artificial sweetener or some kind of toxin, it doesn't know what the hell to do with it. It stores it in your fat. It stores it away in fat. Yeah, that's what it does. So obesity has a lot to do with all this crap they're putting in our food. It has a lot to do with giving our bodies things that it has no idea what else to do with, so it just locks it away in a fat cell to protect you, because that's how we're built. Okay, it's sort of like it's trying to protect you, like your computer partitioning off sections, trying to protect you from a virus. What it puts it locks it in a its own little individual cell so it can't go do anything, right? That's what your body is doing. So you do that often enough, you've got obesity. And that's why the artificial sugar, oh, sugar's bad for you. Now, here's an interesting side note. That sugar is bad for you thing, these are guys from my hometown, Depot, and I can't remember which mother's paw. He got the contract to make a commercial for Hawaiian Punch. So he made the commercial for Hawaiian Punch. He did the music for it. And in the soundtrack, very, very low, he did a little experiment of his own. You couldn't even hear it, couldn't even tell it was there. He put the message, the subliminal message. He admitted to this on camera. This is a matter of record. You can go check this out. He put in sugar is bad for you. Not long after that, we started hearing people parrot back, sugar is bad for you, sugar is bad for you, sugar is bad for you. Then people start calling for something that can replace sugar. Then they come up with all this toxic carcinogenic shit. Wow, look how good that went. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm not at all sure that wasn't intentional. You see, because what a lot of people don't know, I remembered something about him. A lot of us kids were not allowed to play with the mother's paws. Why? They were satanic. Took me a long time to remember that. They were satanic. A lot of us weren't allowed to play with them. Now, isn't it interesting? Years later, one of the things that's most horrifically afflicting us is all of the stuff that stemmed from that subliminal message. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying it did, that one thing did it, but I am saying if you hear that often enough and think about how often these commercials come on, it certainly led to people asking for artificial sweeteners. And it certainly led us down a path that has culminated in a lot of tragedy. And I really wonder, was that a plan? Oh, sure, he could say, oh, I just put it in an offhand kind of way. Or was it on purpose? Or did somebody decide, yeah, put that in there? That's a conspiracy theory for you. We'll call it the Mothersbaugh conspiracy theory. Okay? Hey, some of you need some new conspiracy theories. All your other conspiracy theories have turned out to be true, right? You need a new one once in a while. Yep. Yeah, what if we just don't believe anything? Well, I'm not sure that I do entirely believe anything. I think I may have a head start there. You know what? And I'm quite sure. I know a shaman who functions this way. He says, if I don't believe in it, it doesn't exist and it can't hurt me. And somehow it works for him. So anything he encounters, if he disbelieves it, somehow he's perfected this. He disbelieves it, and then it doesn't hurt him somehow. And this reminds me of gaming. If any of you ever played some of these games, these role playing games, like Dungeons and Dragons, Disbelieve Illusion. Okay, somehow he's got that. Disbelieve Illusion was something you could do in the early games. You'd roll and see how good you could disbelieve it. Well, this guy must be like a plus 20, okay? Because somehow if he disbelieves it, it doesn't hurt him. Don't ask me what happened there. Right, attachment. Emotional attachment, which is why I do these clearings. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do I have that anything can harm me? We have so many layers of that. Let's do it right now. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do I have that anything can harm me, that everything can harm me, that anything can harm me when I'm a divine, unlimited, vast being? Okay, let's see if we can take it out. Maybe we can. Think of everything that entails, everything that entails, everything that surrounds that, everything that's a piece of, everything that leads to, everything. Okay. Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy it? If so, just say, yeah. I know, uncreate and destroy all that. Times a godzillion, times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, broken about all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I've told you this before. This is the magic wand of access consciousness. It stands for a much longer statement. I'm going to do it again. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that any toxins, poisonous substances, or anything else can harm us as divine, unlimited beings, can harm us? And the thought right away comes up, well, maybe can harm our bodies because our bodies are different. They're just avatars. Yes, but they are within our field. We should be able to control that. So, further, what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we cannot control what goes on with this avatar body? We are not in complete control. Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy that as well? I say yes. Okay. I now uncreate and destroy all of that. Times a godzillion, times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, talking about all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Let's see what that does. And saying I don't care anymore with Phil Collins about freedom. I don't care anymore. I don't care no more. I don't care what you say. Yeah. Yes. There may be more layers. If there are, we'll do it again. Okay? Let's see what this does, though. See what this does. Woo! Dexter's Lab. I feel like I'm doing, like one of those mad scientists. Let's see what this does. When it all falls down. I can't remember that one right now. Interesting. Um, but okay. Yeah, if we're divine unlimited beings, we should be able to control these little abbies. We should be able to make them into anything we want. We just got to take off some layers of belief and disbelief. We got some deconstructing to do. And were these mechanisms all. What if all of this was subliminally input into our psyches to make us build this? There I go with the conspiracy theories again. What if it never did really exist for us in the beginning? Power and believe, yeah, what you put energy into. What we put our energy into becomes real, which is why you can believe in the big flip, earth flip, all you want. That's going to happen. It's not going to happen in my world. You can believe in World War III, you want to. It's not going to happen in my world. I don't believe that will happen. I am totally in disbelief of that ever happening. That is not going to happen in my world. In my version of reality, it will never happen. Actually, and the funny thing is, we've been hearing that since we were kids. In my generation, we heard that all the time. That was the way we were taught that we were going to die. We were going to die from radiation poisoning. We were going to die from a bomb or radiation poisoning. That was how the world was going to end. And that was just the way it was. And it was going to happen sooner or later because now we have the bomb and blah, 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 blah. And you know what? We're still here, hanging by a thread in some cases, but we're still here. But a lot of us took it upon ourselves to say, no, we choose no. Mm-mm. We do not choose that option. Okay, and I brought this up before. I came up with at least 15 ways the world could end. And it's almost like you get offered a menu in a game, right? In an open-ended game. Let's see. Well, do you choose this? Do you choose that? Do you choose this way for the world? Do you choose that way for the world? And I choose none of the above. None of these is going to happen. Oh, ooh, okay. It's a machine. It has to listen. I choose none of the above. Well, what if you had to choose one? Well, I don't choose one. Hit the X. Hit the X. I don't choose. I don't choose any of it. It isn't ending in any tragic way. It isn't ending at all. As a matter of fact, we're never ending. Why should the world end? We don't end. I don't know. Everything has to have an end, does it really? We don't. Does it really? Maybe it doesn't. Is that true? Or does it just look true? Hmm. Who knows? We don't live long enough to find out, do we? In these bodies. Oh, that's really one thing that I think has got to be absolutely injected is this thing with the hypersensitivity to pronouns and stuff like that. It's like hypersensitivity to this and that, and just my feelings and blah blah blah. It's like instead of trying to get along with people, it's like people are trying to find something to be upset about. It's like, gee, what can I be upset about? Everybody's upset about something. It's trendy. What can I find to be triggered by? You know? I know. I don't really have anything. How about pronouns? That's right. I'll get me some pronouns. I'll get me some special pronouns that other people have to use, whether they know them or not, whether they know me or not. And then I'll tell them I'm triggered because they didn't use the right ones. Well, wait a minute. Are we supposed to mind read? Are we supposed to mind read? Seriously? I tell people mind reading costs extra. If sometimes I'll say, hey, mind if I call you, you know, Heather Dawn? Mind if I just call you Heather? Mind if I just call you LSB? Mind if I just call Alexander Alex? Mind if I just call you that? But you can't expect me to know that if I don't even know you. You can't expect me to know that. There are people who will go nuts if you don't call them by their whole name. They'll actually be so insulted and triggered. No, it's blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, fine. I'm so sorry. Yeah, forgive me. Didn't know it was that important to you. You can call me Dee. You can call me Diane. You can call me Diana. Even my grandma kind of preferred Diane, little Diane. Okay. I don't care. I know who I am. You know who I am. We know who I am. What the heck? You know? Now, if you call me Mr. or Sir, I'm going to go, uh, wait a minute. Let me check. Nope. Still girl. Yeah. Remember that comedian? You could call me RJJ, but you doesn't have to call me Johnson. It's like, honestly, oh, wow, man. What will I be triggered by? Let me think. Yeah, I'll make up a pronoun. Zim, zer. What the hell does that mean? It's a pronoun, man. Oh, yeah, it's my pronoun. If I don't use it, I'm going to be triggered. Okay. Ah, yeah, I see how we play that game. Well, that means to counter that, I have to come up with some special pronouns of my own so that I can get on your case. Mm-hmm. You may call me Your Highness, Your Royal Highness. You may call me Her Excellency. Okay. Your Excellency. Yes, you may call me that. I knows who I am. you know, and I have to hand it to David Icke. He said something very wise. He said, people tried to give him all kinds of grief. I mean, really, David Icke is such a controversial figure. He's been kicked off of platforms, numerous platforms. They have made a laughing stock of him. When he came out and said that we're all sons of God, that we're all children of God, and they tried to say he thought he was Jesus Christ. That's how they spun that, you know? And he couldn't go anywhere without somebody knowing who he was and making fun of him. It all got burned out of him. Every trace of it got burned out of it. Every trace of give a, you know, my give up is broken, right? And I just ain't going to ever repair it. That's what he's got. And he says, you know what, mate? I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck. I don't give one fuck what you think. This is the way it is. This is the way I see it. I don't give a fuck. You've almost got to be that way. You've almost got to have a very hard shell. And it's like, because people will try and gaslight you. They'll try and trigger you. They'll try and, you know, let's see, I'm going to call you fat. I'm going to call you ugly. I'm going to call you stupid. I'm going to call you whatever. It's like, whatever. Okay, whatever. Right. Yes, insisting and demanding pronouns. That's how the house fire started. Wow. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Yeah. It's just, you have complex PTSD from my daughter insisting she is a he. You know, this is what they do. It is traumatic. And then they're teaching people how to be extra traumatized. Oh, you're not being traumatized enough? Get a special pronoun. Get a Ronco special pronoun. Then you can be traumatized when people can't read your mind and know what it is, and then they get the wrong one, and then you could be traumatized more. Hey, it's great. Be traumatized. It's the Ronco Be Triggered kit. Only $19.99. But we're having a special sale. If you order right now, I mean, seriously. I mean, people can find a lot about me to rag on. They can find a lot about anybody, really. I mean, even the most beautiful person has things to rag on, right? But there's a lot about me. I'm very I'm very judgeable, in that regard. You could find all kinds of things to say about me, but as far as I'm concerned, F you. You got an A- on your blood test. When people call me negative, are you calling me negative? Well, yeah, typo negative. Oh, yes. Oh, negative. Church abuse trauma. I know. I knew my marriage was in trouble right from the start. We got married at his church. We got married once in a regular, like in a building, a hall. And then we got married again to suit the parents, in at their church, in his parents' church. They didn't allow dancing. And I said, okay. Everybody was all looking forward to dancing at our wedding, but they couldn't dance. I'm like, oh, this is awful. I could tell this wasn't, this is bodes ill. We couldn't have our wedding dance. And, the Amish have a great way of helping each other out and everything, but it's very codified. I mean, there are people who escape from the Amish, you know, they can never go back. Once they do, they will never be accepted. And you cannot join the Amish. You must be born into it. But they're highly restrictive and pretty easily triggered. It must suck. But religious trauma is some of the worst. Negative personas. Negative personas. Do I have negative personas? I don't know. Do I? I don't know. Human. Yee. Hey, Linda Bennett, how you doing? Yeah, I couldn't believe I got married and couldn't dance at my wedding. Nobody could dance at my wedding. That 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 was a should have been a red flag right there. I just knew, and it was. I'm like, oh, this is not good. There's going to be religious abuse, and there was, and there was. He knew exactly who I was and what I was when he married me. He knew how I thought. Yeah, and people will try and make you think that you're going to hell if you don't believe their way. Going to hell? Well, keep me a spot warm down there. You just go ahead and wait. I may be very, very, very late. I know they do that to me too. I'll be laughing, and nobody said anything, and I'll laugh, burst out laughing, and people look at me like, "What? Nothing. Just had a funny thought. That's all." David is really bad for that. He's naughty. He's naughty. He'll say naughty things that makes me laugh. Yeah, my guides will make me laugh. They're great. Doing good still in California. I said California is a place you're going to be. You ought to be. Hello, Stock Explorer. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly. You hold it down in California for us, Linda. What part of California again? You're not in the bad part, are you? You're not in the crazy ass part, are you? Well, yeah. I think we all go through that at some point. Any of us that strike out on our own and decide to do our thing, and it's not mainstream, we've all got to go through that. And we've all got to develop that thick skin about it. We've all got to go develop that David Icke attitude. I don't give a fuck. That's what we got to do. It's like no F's were given the whole day through, right? Hey, namaste. Namago. Namaste. Okay. It's a metaphysical joke. It's a spiritual joke. What can I say? Namaste. Anyway, yeah. So basically, you've got, uh, which I see religion as a trap for your mind. It's a mind cage. It gives you a set of rules you have to follow, that your mind has to follow. Um, it can give you comfort, of course. You know what? You can use, of course, you can use religion in a positive way. People have, but it can be used extremely negatively too. And there is no denying that as we look into history, that it has started wars. It is a really major cause of war. Yeah. Major cause of persecution. Is it good? Is it bad? Yes. So is religion a good or bad thing? Yes. How do you use it? Like everything else in this world, everything else in this realm. How do you use it? Is apple cider vinegar good or bad? Yes. Is animal protein good or bad? Yes. Is raw milk good or bad? Yes. Is nuclear fission good or bad? Well, it just happens, doesn't it? It does occur naturally. We just decided to do it unnaturally. Is it good or bad? Yeah. Everything's good or bad. Even me. I can be a naughty little girl. Ah, yeah, July the 22nd. Boy, that'll be interesting. Goddess and Anna has the lion. Yep. Hmm. Yep. Mars and Jupiter just conjuncted. Yeah, not everybody falls for the tricks. Not everybody falls for the trick. We are, by the way, in a portal right now, if you didn't know. Maybe that's why we were cleaning that portal last night. Maybe that's why we were clearing it. I'm still a little hungover from that. Every time I do this kind of work, the next day I have some effects. I have some effects. Wasn't bad. Wasn't really bad. Just don't quite feel here. Don't quite feel all here all day. Just kind of spacey feeling all day. I guess when you go non-local, it happens. Oh, yeah, long before TV. Quite true. And it's funny. It's funny because, yeah, just recently I keep seeing this thing. When I'm trying to find something on YouTube, every now and then the shorts drift past. Somebody singing something about drain me dry like a goddamn vampire. And I'm like, you're giving permission. I'm not giving permission. Cancel that for me. You don't know what you're giving permission to. People don't know what they're giving permission to. They sing stupid shit. They say stupid shit. They make stupid shit jokes. And there are some entities that take that for a cent. You want to be traumatized? That's one way to do it. Believe me, I know. I felt I fell into that for a while. Yeah, Linda Bennett's seen what it's done to me before to do crazy shit like that. You were around when we did the 35,000 year uh, crossing over thing, weren't you, Linda? Yeah, you missed the clearing out the portal last night, but believe me, it was pretty epic in itself. I'm getting better at this, though. I'm getting better at recovering from it. It doesn't seem to do me in as much. Boy, but that first time, that really did me in for a long time. I mean, I needed rest for a long, 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 long time. And you know what, Rika, my teacher Rika, she always said, access consciousness. She always said, okay, you're wondering why you're feeling tired. And I do this all the time. I go, why am I feeling so tired? It's because, she says, think about it. What superhero thing have you been doing? Did you just do? What superhero thing are you doing or have just done that you're not really acknowledging? Of course, you're going to be tired. You're going to need a little rest now and then. When you do superhero stuff all the time, you're going to have to adapt to that, you know? You're going to have a little time to adapt. And I mean, as I go on, I'm getting better at it. I'm recovering faster. I'm finding out how to recover better. But you know, I've been doing this crazy stuff for a long time. And Heather Dawn was talking about how she parted this she parted the sea. I parted the clouds. I parted the toxic clouds coming in from Cleveland. I've got pictures. Right. You tell them, cowboy. You know, you were there. You weren't outside, but you were there. I know you were watching out the window. Come here. Speaking of Mr. Wonderful, there he is. Hi. You gonna just show him your butt or you're gonna turn around? They don't want to see your butt. They know you have no tail. They're all cool with that. This is the onset of him trying to convince me that it's time to get some sleep and cuddle up. This is how it starts. Gets up on the bed, starts purring, starts pulling at my arm. Pretty soon he's going to start putting a little paw on my arm. Like, when are you going to bed, Mom? When are we going to bed? When are we going to go sleep? Look at that little face. Look at that handsome face there. And then he'll roll over and put his belly up so he knows I can't resist that. Oh my gosh. You know what? Yeah, I don't say everything I'm doing either before I do it. Sometimes I just do it. Yep. A lot of times you have to just do it. Yes, he's a handsome boy. He's a fine, handsome boy. He's a sweet older Tom. And I tell you, I find just in general, older tomcats are very, very sweet. They just want love, affection, food, belly rubs. If you want a little baby to take care of, get yourself an old tomcat. He'll be happy. All they want is just love all day and all night and food. And so you got a baby. It's like having a little baby, right? It's a baby substitute. Yeah, he's a sweet old guy. Yeah, I don't talk about what I'm going to do sometimes because I know damn well somebody's going to try and screw around with it. Sometimes you just got to do it. I'm so glad you do show up, though, Heather, because I'd sure miss you. I'd sure love to see you come in. And I love to see all of you come in, actually. Linda isn't here enough. Yeah. You need a beautiful kitty like, yeah, you do. Maybe you do. Maybe we'll just intend that you get it. Well, I rescued this one from a lady who passed on during COVID. And he was slated to go to the animal shelter. And I couldn't bear the thought of it because he was an older guy. He only has half his teeth. He he was very chunky because he was on the wrong food. And so he was also kind of sluggish. But he was a sweet guy. So I said, sure, we'll give him a try. He had big mats in his fur because nobody had taken them out and some other issues. But you know what? After we got him on the right food, took the mat, he helped me get the mats out of his fur. I mean, from the very beginning, he peeks in the door when he first gets here. I looked at the cow spots. I didn't know what I was going to call him. I wasn't going to call him the dumb name that they told me he was. I looked at him. I said, I thought, you look like a cow cat. Look like a cowboy cat. And I said, well, cowboy, you better get up here and get your belly rubbed. And he came right up on the bed, turned over, and presented his belly to be rubbed. And I said, okay, we're going to get along just fine. I finally found a man who will do what I tell him when I'm looking after his own good. If only I could find a man like that. Like, do what I tell you for your own good, will you please? I'm trying to help you here. It's like we're going to get along. He knows I'm trying to help him. Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to constantly scan for information all the time. It's not really necessary. The truth comes out, just do what I tell you. Yeah. Everything will be fine. I'm trying to help you. No, he realizes now, being a cat, he doesn't do everything I say. Of course not. He's a cat. But he knows daggone well, when I say come up here and get your belly rubbed, he knows what that means. And he knows that's good for him. So he follows those instructions, right? He knows to follow those instructions. When I say, come here and get your food, he knows how to follow those instructions, right? So, yeah, just let me help you, will you? And we got him on the good food, and we got him on just better health all the way around, better care, and he's healthy. He's fine. He's very handsome. He's very handsome. He's a sweetheart. He is the sweetest tempered little guy. Yes. That's what love can do, right? That's what love can do. Mhm. He listens to mommy pretty well. Not all the time, of course not. He's a cat. Yeah, they're bright. They'll figure things out. Yeah, that's it. A lot of people just, or they want you to do it for them. Yeah, I get that a lot too. Jason does that to me sometimes. He has a tendency to do that to people. He'll be like, I got this problem, and then he'll just kind of leave it with you to you figure it out for him. And it's like, oh, no, 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 no. No, dear. I don't have time to look all this up for you. You can look it up. You've got Google. You know how to Google. Yeah. The funniest thing, though, I swear, he is evolving. I caught him going through my pictures. I caught him touching. I don't know if did I mention this? He's looking at my screen. My screen was on. I'm there. That's odd because usually it turns black, you know. Well, I had turned it off. Well, not turned it off. I had set it down without turning it off, rather. And there he is, touching it with his paw to keep it open so he can watch the pictures go by. It's like, you're evolving, you little snot. Now he's looking at everybody upside down because that's a better way. The world is upside down anyway. Now he's looking at it right side up. Oh, you know, and Jason's a smart guy. He's he took computer school. He's been to college. You know, he's done. But no, you do my research for me. It's like I'm not doing your research for you. Okay. Um, but if I find something that's going to help, I always tell people. Like, you know, I found the mushrooms. I found them on Amazon. You can get them pretty cheap. Jason was paying like 50, $60 for a smaller bottle than what I found on Amazon for like about 25, for under 25 actually. So, you know, and I'll tell you that kind of thing. Sure, I'll help you that way. I don't mind. Yep, he just wants, he says, look, my little, see, just exactly what I told you. Now he's got his little white belly turned up. That means I want to be loved now. I want you to rub my belly. It's time to go to bed because he knows I can't resist rubbing his little belly. He knows that. That's going to get my attention. And he's saying, Mommy, I want to go to bed. I want to go to sleep now. It's time. It's past 12. And he'll stay right with me too. He's most of the time he'll get up and maybe have a couple bites to eat, but most of the time he'll be here almost all the night through. Yeah. I ask people sometimes, but it's like I have figured out some stuff. It's just when I'm really stumped. Like I could not figure out, I could not wrap my head around the timestamp thing. But now I think I've got it. And I'm going to try it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to do some of the card readings and see if I can timestamp. And we'll be working on that. Yeah, but the thing is, I find I have to walk away from things sometimes for a while and then come back. Sometimes I got to let them stew for a little bit. And then it's like, oh, I know what you're saying now, you know, because at first when you were saying what you were telling me, how it was done, it was like, what are you talking about? No, I know what you're saying now. Okay, I think I do. Okay, you taking off? I'm getting ready to take off too because it's past 12. I've been on for 2 hours. I do want to get some sleep tonight. And it has been wonderful talking to you all. I love you all. You're great. Um, yeah. You just have to, sometimes I have to let it simmer a little bit and then it's like, oh, okay, what? Yeah, I know. Time for bed. And you know what? I had one, Kangy. He was a furry alarm clock, got me up every single day at 6. This one, he tells me when it's time to go to bed, Mom. It's time to go to bed. It's past 12. You need your sleep. What's wrong with you? Don't you know? All right, cowboy. He's right, you know. I listen to him too. I think I'm going to listen to cowboy. Hmm. Love to everybody. See you Wednesday, hopefully. I should be in this Wednesday, hopefully. Uh, yeah, do it with hours, minutes, and seconds. I'm still not sure whether I copy paste or whether I type it in or whether I'm not sure. I'll figure it out though. I kind of get it. Yeah. Karen Lynn, doggone. You just come in just as we're leaving. But it's good to see you. Yeah. Meow, meow, purr. Cowboy is saying I need to get some sleep after clearing a timeline last night and not getting that much sleep today. I was out busy doing stuff, shopping. And he's like, woman, it's time for you to get some sleep. Hmm. But it's good to see you, Karen. Yeah, we'll be on again on Wednesday. Hopefully, everything will be fine for Wednesday. We'll see. I don't think I'm doing that much Wednesday. Anyway, but you never know. Okay. In the meantime, take care. I appreciate everything that you guys do. You guys really are a great team. You know, when we work as a team, we really kick ass. And I'm very proud of you all for who you are, how far you've come in this life. You really need to be celebrated for all you've achieved and all you've learned because there's a very small percentage of people like you. So you have a good reason to be proud of yourself, what you've learned, what you've accomplished, and your courage to be who you are. That should be celebrated. Okay. Remember you're divine. Okay. Don't forget. So your creators create wisely and well, please. Let's create wisely and well so we don't have to suffer. I don't like suffering. It hurts. So let's not create suffering and let's create wisely. That's all I'm asking. You know, isn't it reasonable? And letting you know I love you because some people are going to leave, not necessarily you guys, but to let people know. And while they're physical, you know. And we all need that. Gee, we all need to know we're loved. We do. And remember, truth is where you find it. I hope you're always finding some on this show. That's what we strive for anyway. Okay, till Wednesday and whenever. Have a great night. Have a great day. Have a great another night. Whatever time zone you're in. Have a great one. I'll see you next time. Ah, depends on how athletic she is. Okay, no. Okay, leave them laughing when you go. That's the rule.